Liam Henderson.
Calling from Birmingham. Anyway, what's down there? No, she uses my account on my Apple for her iPad. So,
see, can I ask probably Paul or Jason? No disrespect, Joe, right? But I get asked all the time at my work what's going on with the Huns, and I just make up as I go along. I honestly don't really have a clue. Like, what's happening? What is
like I said weeks ago, right? When we talked about this, I said Mike Accie is going to swallow that place whole. That's the kind of guy he is, and I swear to God, that's exactly what he's going to do. It
does look as if he's no stranger at a fish supper all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
I see someone Celtic minded about the stuff on Friday was to do with the fact that the Rangers Supporters Trust had been told by their lawyers that they couldn't stop Mike Ashley taking over Ibrox and Murray Park, and this was the event and that sort of thing. So, just what is exactly? Can you just put me in the picture so I can go out and walk the monitor and say, what's going on with the Huns? Where are they? What's the situation?
My uneducated guess.
What's got to apply?
Before Paul weighs on this for actual
facts. I have no idea, so I'll pass it on to Paul.
I'm going to guess, so before Paul starts, from what I know, right, Paul, obviously you're going to fix my bastardization of this situation, but basically he's going to secure Ibrox and Murray Park as credit, more or less, for a loan he's going to give them, or he's offering them to get to the end of the season. Is that it?
Yeah. I mean, basically, it's the £10 million loans on the table off the back of knocking back, supposedly, the £18 million for the American guy. And for the £10 million loan, he wants security over Ibrox and Murray Park, which effectively...
He's already gave him $3 million, hasn't he? That's $13 million.
Now, $13 million, $3 million is due in April. Now, what that would mean would be that no matter who buys the shares or whatever, he would effectively have ownership of the ground in Murray Park, and they would need to deal with him to get that, which was his kind of, I would guess, fuck you to the SFA who stopped him increasing his shareholding. Now, the other thing...
if they liquidated, that he would still own that as well, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, no, if they liquidated...
If they liquidated that, if they went to admin, he would have first dibs on it.
Right.
The other thing about it is that Dave King, Sevco released a statement today basically saying that, Dave King basically wants an EGM, and he wants him, Paul Murray, and this other boy, John Gilligan, who I don't think is the same boy that got done for Veronica Gerwin's murder, who they own the board and they want these deals and that emptied off it. And Sevco released a statement this morning saying, well, that's all fine and well, but are you actually sure that you're fit and proper people, i.e. Murray and King? For two reasons. First of all, King, obviously convicted tax fraudster, paid £44 million to the South African tax authorities to stay out of jail. So there's the first thing. Second thing is, he was a member of Rangers board when they were liquidated. And in the sense that he had been in because there's a 5-year time period, as was Paul Murray. And in business means you can't then get a seat on a board anywhere because of that. So that's two things that they've basically thrown back at them and saying, well, you're fucking having a go at us. So that's kind of the situation. Now, Dave King is the major shareholder, but he still needs to get over 50% to actually make anything happen. At the moment, I think he's got about 16%. As it stands, and this is the key, the wages are due this week, and they didn't have any money to pay them. So something will have to give this week.
I think Mike Accies is the guy. He's the guy.
Well, see, I've obviously not got a clue what's happening, but the last 2-3 years, experience of them of paying back debt, it's not very good. So if Mike Ashley can... If Mike Ashley gets them to agree to this, the likelihood of they paying back that 13 million is fucking it's nigh on fucking no chance. So and also, he will be owning the stadium.
You could, if we had this conversation a month ago and you put it on the table and say what are the assets in Sevco, you could probably say Lewis McLeod, Murray Park, and Ibrox. And if he gets this, that means they've really got any assets left. So. Then what happens? What happens after the fucking money runs out of then? You know what I mean? Because this is just to keep the lights on. They have to be clear about this. This 13 million quid that Ashley's got to loan them, or has loaned already 3 million of, this is just to keep the lights on. Yeah. They need... Ibrox is falling into pieces. Creditors all over the shop have been paid. The fucking team's hopeless. There's no real youth set up there. There's no scouting system whatsoever at Ibrox. So you're talking conservatively about 30 million quid just to get the show back on the road.
Seemingly they only had the undersoil heating on for 4 hours.
4 hours, that's right. And it should have been on
since Wednesday.
48 hours before is when how undersoil heating's meant to go, and they put it on at 3 o'clock on Friday.
I love the photographs of John Collins and Ronny Deila just giggling in the fucking stand in front of who the fuck knows members of the board. I mean,
these deals basically.
Nobody can keep up with that shit, though. Let's be honest. I mean, I have a funny feeling that the majority of Rangers fans are just going to go, "This is too much hassle."
And back then, another news penalty to Everton, by the way. Carry on.
Well, I tell you something, Joe. This is something that's starting to dawn on them now. Is that I mean, you know, you talk about. We talk about often on the show about how you attract people to football and that. How the fuck do they attract people to football matches? You know, and we this nonsense going on. Because for every, it goes back to what Jason said about the internet. For every fan that wants to boycott this and this thing, there are fans telling them, you're the fucking people that put us in this mess. You know what I mean? And you're the reason why we need this money and so on.
Yeah.
How do you actually attract people to the ground? Because they're just not doing it. I mean, and they're an appalling side. I mean, one of the things I watched is that the first 10 minutes was Sevco was on top. Hertz took complete control of that game on a terrible surface and were pushing. Then the game, I'm not saying that's why it got abandoned, but they were in complete control of that game and looked far superior to them. Do you know what I mean? So now it's like, and here you see the day, the cheerleaders are out, Stuart McCall and all the rest of it. What the fuck is going to do with them? I'll never know. All the pressure's on Celtic for the semi-final and all that kind of thing.
What?
Oh, really? I mean, I'm not being funny, like, but see when we looked like we were going to the war, I didn't remember anybody talking about what we were going to be doing in games. You know, or what we should need to win this game. I think people were all obsessed with the fact that, you're going to fucking die soon.
Yeah.
And that is just the fucking mentality of them is absolutely incredible. And then, you know, you've got these, you know, Chris Graham goes on the telly and says, we're going to fucking sue Mike Ashley. That lasted about 4 seconds. Because fucking Mike Ashley is a ruthless fucking billionaire who, as you say, Joe, could fucking swat these people like a fly.
Oh, exactly.
And that's the fucking bottom line. And what happened was, you know, the minute fucking King and all that made their move, Ashley went like that, boom with a loan, I'll take Ibrox, I'll take Murray Park, and proved to them you didn't play poker with a fucking billionaire.
No, he's a high roller. He's a fucking high roller.
You drop a washing machine on the feet.
How many washing machines are we talking here, Harper?
1690. 1,690 washing machines.
But then again, Paul, we know...
Depends how many 4-bedroom apartment houses you're talking you go along there.
It depends. It's a complex. Is that metric?
Aye. No, it's before metric come in. What do you call that?
Greek?
No, it wasn't Greek. It was pre-decimal.
Pre-decimal. That's how old you are, fuck me. Did they have slates in your fucking school?
Aye.
And
4 and 6.
Bringing a coal to school every day.
I deal in inches, no centimetres.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
As a blind man said to the prostitute, I got to hand it to you.
But Paul, I mean, we know that the mainstream media is anti-Celtic. I mean, look at the Aberdeen thing right now. I mean, it's like anybody but Celtic, ABC. You know what I mean? That's how simple it is for them. It's not even an agenda. It's a mantra at this point. I mean, it's kind of the staple of what you're supposed to be able to do if you want to write for mainstream media or be part of mainstream media. You have to be able to shit on Celtic from any angle you possibly can. I mean, like fair play to Aberdeen, they are putting up a fight. They're a good team, got some good players. I mean, but I still don't think we're not going to win the league. So, but the closest thing to Celtic that is possibly successful or competitive is Aberdeen. As Sevco are obviously a complete fucking disaster. They're a washout. I mean, and you know, so I mean that's just the way it is.
Well, I mean, look, if anybody wants a lesson for the story of Sevco the last 2.5 years, is that Scottish football and by extension Scottish society is all geared towards having some sort of fucking football team played at Ibrox and being the top team in the country.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I mean, this is why fucking Scottish football is in such a mess administratively with the SPFL and the SFA and all that kind of thing. It continues to be, and it's the great thing about it is people have woken up to this. It's not just Celtic supporters that are driving this. It's Aberdeen fans, it's Dundee United fans, Dundee, it's Hibs, it's Hearts. They all know. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? They are, I heard one of their spokesmen say that, fans all over Scotland that didn't like us are revelling in this. You better believe they are.
Yep.
Fucking hell, because you and your old co were revelling in destroying everybody else when you fucking thought you were the best thing ever. So, I'm sorry, but that's just the way. And suddenly now they all want to play the fucking victim over everything. You know what I mean? It's staggering. And I mean, the bottom line is they'll never get any sympathy in Scottish football. And any kind of notion whatsoever, and Peter Law will say that to reconstruct a league to allow them to get in it will be fucking opposed.
Yeah, but I think the favouritism is going to come to an end at some point. Do you not? I mean, like, it's got to the point where you're like, come on, fuck. It's like having a friend who's an alcoholic, and you go through years of helping them or whatever. I don't know, and you get to a certain point. That's a really, really bad analogy. I'm sorry I said that.
But I know what you mean, Joe, because I didn't think they can't survive the next generation, like, because they've got two decades of cheating behind them, then they get liquidated, then there's a new coach starting on, and all the nonsense, which is going to go on for years and years and years. They will not survive the next generation of fans who, in Scottish football terms, are picking and choosing, whether they support teams or whether they watch Premiership teams or so on. They're never going to go and support them with all that baggage. I mean, the fucking brand is toxic. Yep. And it's toxic for a lot of reasons. The imagery that comes to your mind that every time you see that brand, whether it's loyalists and fucking the North of the Island or fucking cheating or tax dodging or whatever it might be. And I'm sorry, but you're only going to attract a certain type of person. And that certain type of person needs to get used to the fact that we all fucking hate you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think the football is one of those sports that, like, it evolves. The people who involve football, obviously football evolves, like, as a sport. I mean, as any sport does, right? But the culture evolves as well. I mean, you think back, like, the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, up to now. I mean, things evolve on. And see if you're kind of, like, they're almost trying to catch up and trying to spend money to catch up to what is kind of being a big football team and being a big football club, which they are not anymore, and they probably never will be again, which is, too bad, but, pay.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, as I said before, I said on the show I was on yesterday, if you want an idea of what we were up against, Bank of Scotland in 1999 handed Rangers 37 million quid. That was £22 million in cash on the same day in their bank account and £15 million working capital to grab whenever they felt like it, and they used it solely to buy players. The payback deal was 88 quarterly payments of that money, 250 grand, right? So 250 grand on every quarter for 88 quarters. And I say to everybody, I would urge everybody to go into the bank or Lloyds or wherever tomorrow and say, I would like to borrow 22 million quid and I'm going to pay it back in 88 quarterly payments of 250 grand. And they say, what fucking kind of deal is that? So he said, David Murray deal. That's the one you gave him. And that, and there's a word for that and there's a name for that, and it's called financial doping. And that's the biggest fucking problem they have now, is that all they know and all their fans know is financially doping the league, and they can't do it anymore. And that's why they're bewildered as to what to fucking do.
Yeah, as Malcolm X said, the chickens have come home to roost.
Tail mend them.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that's what happens. So, I suppose that brings us on to Drogheda this Saturday. Bam, 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 bam. Paul Larkin is bringing the Asterix years to the Yokels. Sorry,
Yokels.
Sorry, people of Drogheda. But some city folk are making their way in to sweeten the crowd.
This is the man living in Balbriggan. Do you know what I mean?
That's how I fucking know. That's how I know what it's like. I mean,
the bus passes through to go to the city.
I'm in the weeds here. I mean, squeal like a pig. Jesus. Mm-hmm. I mean, but anyway, Paul, Drogheda's coming up this Saturday. Going to be a good night from what I hear. People messaging me saying they're going to go. We're looking forward to it. They come from far and wide. Should be great. Cannot wait for this. Swear to God, cannot wait for this. It'll be brilliant. You excited? Will this be your last European date?
No, my last European date. No, because last Irish date. Because whatever happens, the tour ends in Vegas. There's not going to be any more after that. And I'm excited about it because it's always good to go to new places. And actually, one of the offshoots here, I mean, not just entails people coming to it, I've had people getting in touch with me who have been to Drogheda for, holidays and things like that.